Hello, people who are not me, and welcome back to Mega Man 6. I'm Sire Goku. In the last video, we had a lot of difficulty with Plant Man there, but we managed to pull through and finish off with Tomahawk Man and Yamato Man as well as get the letters B and E for, well, as you can clearly tell, they are spelling out beat. So we're going to continue in weakness order, going on to Nightman, who represents England, I believe. Capital of Science. England's the capital of science. And he's solar-powered, apparently, too. Oh, this is a good time to mention Mega Man 6. Well, Mega Man 2 and onward in Japan actually had kids in Japan designing the Robot Masters. So all the initial Robot Master designs from 2 onward were actually designed by kids in Japan. Mega Man 6, however, was the first time where that actually branched out, and Mega Man bosses were designed, Mega Man bosses designs were being picked from American kids. There was actually an entire issue of Nintendo Power. I think it had Mega Man 5 in it, but there was a issue that allowed you to submit your own Robot Master designs for Mega Man 6. And Nightman is one of the 2 Robot Masters that got chosen. And you will notice that in the credits when he's got... Blah. You'll notice that in the credits because it'll be the only 2 Robot Masters that have English names for the designers. So that's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I think that's where it stopped in terms of America getting input on Mega Man bosses, except for Mega Man 10, and I'll get to that later when we get to Mega Man 10. You can actually cheese this section pretty easily with the Rush Jet. And I have no problems with using it. Hey, if it's an item that the game gives you to use, I'm gonna use it. Also, I apologize if you think the charge noise is annoying. I know a lot of people don't really care much for the charge-up noise. But again, if the Charge Buster is one of the strongest attacks you have in the game, I'm gonna frickin' abuse it. I apologize if it does bother you. I try not to use it too much. I can take that. Thank you, Eddie. But yeah, so there's your extra little trivia for those of you that didn't know about that. Also, Nightman's theme is probably my favorite of the Robot Masters in this game. Just my personal opinion. These enemies are annoying. I don't remember if a charge shot gets rid of them in one shot. It wouldn't surprise me if it does. Fly up there and get yourself an energy tank. Why not? And we'll get rid of you. Ooh, swords. I want the swords. We don't get a sword attack till Mega Man 10, unfortunately. Oh well. And now we got a bouncy room, which makes things a little more hectic. Ow. If you're having difficulty, remember the Rush Power Adapter can destroy these enemies. It's a little bit harder to time your shots when you're bouncing all over the place, though, so I wouldn't recommend it. Once again, the split paths to get the letter is down this way. If you haven't beaten Flame Man before coming here, you can't get the letter. Oh well, you can always just go through the stage again. There's nothing stopping. You can go back to old stages. I mentioned this previously, but I figured I should bring it up again just to be safe, in case I didn't mention it. You can revisit old stages in case you missed out. Let's get the Yamato Spear. Yamato, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. The boss rooms do look different depending on which one you're facing off against. That's how you can tell you're in the proper room to fight Nightman here. If you're using his weakness you can actually go through his shield. If you're not using the Yamato Spear, then his shield will actually deflect your attacks. And then he has his Night Crush, which is his mace, which flies across the screen. I think it stops near wherever you're standing, so you just have to jump to avoid it. He can aim it upwards, though, so if you're jumping when he attacks, it can hit you on a diagonal. For beating him, we get the Night Crush, as well as the A part for beat. The game doesn't show it here, but you can actually arc where the Night Crush goes. If you're holding up, it'll arc upward. If you're holding down, it'll arc downwards. It's not too important, but it's nice to know. And the last beat letter is in Centaur Man's stage, which I guess Centaur Man's stage is the most awkward of all of the stages in this game. Although I believe it makes sense because, well, look here. Centaur Man is the water stage of the game. I wasn't at first, when I was originally playing this game a lot, and I think this is only just recently that I figured this out, or thought about it. I didn't know exactly what Centaur Man's stage was themed off of. It seems so random. There's so, I thought it was just the trope of, every Mega Man game has to have at least one water section. But I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that his stage is supposed to be themed off of Atlantis, which would explain the water motif. I thought it was Greece when I originally was playing this, but Atlantis would make sense. I mean, it's not a real place, obviously, but it would explain the water section, the water. Now, again, while being underwater, you have buoyancy. I still don't understand that. I don't get where that comes from. But yeah, if you the longer you hold down the jump button, the higher you'll go. The second you let go of the jump button, though, you will drop like a freaking rock, so keep that in mind. Especially if you're trying to make difficult jumps like here. Or if you're not confident in your jumps, you can just do what I did there and take a hit. While you have invulnerability frames there, you have invulnerability frames, so use them. And I'm not going to get to that energy in time. Oh well. Now this is where things get weird. Now the water is in the ceiling, and as you jump into the water, you have higher jumps. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I guess if it is based on Atlantis, it's all magic. You can use the Rush Jet there, but if you're in the water, the buoyancy will carry you through. Even if you don't jump all the way in, you'll fall down slower, so you'll be able to make those jumps. It doesn't look like you should be able to, but you can. Don't worry about that. Let's get rid of these guys, and you see why I think Mega Man 6 is a slightly easier game? They always seem to have life and weapon energy at just the perfect intervals, as well as Eddie here, who gives me an extra life. Thank you, Eddie. And these stages, man, these stages are going by quick. I'm barely 10 minutes in, and I'm already done almost completely done 2 stages here. And then we got these submarines. Again, everything about this level just makes no sense. I don't get what submarines have to do with Atlantis. Well, okay, if it's Atlantis, okay, I guess you're exploring Atlantis in a submarine. Okay, I'll give it a pass, why not? This section's a little bit tedious and treacherous as well, but that's what the Rush Jet's for. If you're not competent in your jumping, just use the Rush Jet. That's what it's there for. And we've got... I think this section is kind of ripped from Mega Man 5. You can kind of see reused assets in Mega Man 5 and 6. It's a lot more apparent in 5, honestly, but they're still there in 6. I mean, at this point in time, Nintendo's been making like Super Mario World and all that good stuff. So But anyway, the obvious door to go through. Well, I guess it's not. I shouldn't say it's obvious. Maybe people don't know. This door is the door you want to go into if you want to get the beat part. And while I don't think that Centaur Man is that difficult, I am recording and I don't want to chance it, so I've got plenty of E-Tanks to spare. Let's go in full health, why not? And take on Centaur Man. Centaur Man is a little bit, like, as you can see, his sprite's a lot taller than average. What he's going to do is he's going to use his Centaur Flash, which will freeze you in place, as you see there. And then his shot, when it hits the wall, is going to split into a huge spread shot. And, well, while you're frozen, it's really hard to judge where the shot's going to be sometimes, honestly. And it hurts a lot, too, of course. But he's pretty simple. Even if you're not using the Night Crush, which is his weakness, he's probably one of the easier bosses you can go against, since he never jumps. You just have to be careful about how he's shooting at you. And for beating him, we got the Centaur Flash as well as the final part of Beat. In the original NES version, I think there was a fanfare that happened after you get all 4 parts of Beat that they take out in this game, or in this version, I guess. I could be wrong, but the fact that I have all 4 parts of Beat and they don't say anything makes me wonder. Anyway, let's see. You know, I might make this a slightly longer part, why not? Let's go on to Windman. I'm trying to keep these parts short, because, well, I don't want these, like, for games like Mega Man, I don't think you need, like, 30-minute parts. And I don't want to record 30-minute parts, because that's a pain to edit that many parts of Mega Man all at once. That kind of length for a Mega Man. For RPGs and what, I will do long parts, but with Mega Man games I try to keep them short. Anyway, this is Windman, which is also the second Robot Master that was designed by an American. That's all I know. That I don't remember the name, but we'll point that out when we get to the boss roll at the end. And Windman's stage is based on China, as apparent by the panda bears. I guess that's the only thing at the time that could distinguish Chinese. I'm not going to go too into it, especially considering my sister-in-law is Chinese, and if she were actually watching this, she would get on my case for that, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Windman stage, as you can no doubt guess, is going to have a lot of wind aesthetics to it. Most notably, those fan platforms that are going to make you rise up and down real fast. You have no real you don't have any control where you're going on those wind platforms. When you jump into the only thing I can say is when you jump into them, you will jump super high, and that's it. Other than that, yeah, which also means be very careful here. You can... Okay, yeah, be careful here, because this part's... There we go. I'm trying to explain how that works. Just kind of run forward, and you'll fall faster than you rise, and then you won't fall into the spikes there. There, what was so hard to say? What was so hard about saying that past me? Blah. I get stuttery sometimes when I'm commentating. Anyway, flying up here, we get some free energy, as well as an E-Tank. I would use it, but hey, I only have 3. If you don't have the Rush Jet adapter at this point, you can use the fan to get up there. Let's see, I'm at 15 minutes now. And how much farther do I have left for this stage? I think I'm actually at the end. Let me check. No, we got a little bit further to go. And like I said, I want to try and keep these parts a bit short, so I apologize for stopping midway into a stage here, but I don't want to keep these parts going for too long. Anyway, so in the next video, we will finish up with Windman, and then we will go on to the Mr. X stages, because it's the last Robot Master. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in Part 4.